Hello. If you're tapping on this and you don't know who I am, my name is Alexis. The internet knows me as WheezyBlonde. You might have seen me around. I've been around for a couple years. I am a content creator, a streamer. I started out on TikTok in 2020 and I began Twitch streaming live reactions to WWE and AEW in 2022. The point of this video is to just tell you a little bit about myself. I get asked a lot of questions and I want one solid video to be able to send you to so that you can get a feel for who I am. Back in 1992, on a rainy day in November, I'm kidding. Where do I start? About 2 months ago, I quit my full-time job. There is a video about that. Basically, I landed in the hospital. I've been double teaming, or I've been doing double duty, both streaming and doing hair for the last however many years. What is it, 4? I had a bit of an opportunity last year where I should have become a content creator full-time and I decided not to because I was scared. I got sick. I wasn't sleeping. Long story short, I ended up in the hospital. I quit my job. Now, content creation is my venture. It is my full-time gig. I am trying to find my place here. As I said in the beginning, I've been streaming for a couple years. I believe I started at the end of 2022. I did TikToks before that. I was a regular on TikTok Live. I just used to go live for hours at a time and talk to people about kind of whatever. I am born and raised South Bend, Indiana. That is on the very tippy top of Indiana, right on the Michigan state line. I am a Detroit Lions fan. No, I am not a Colts fan. No, I am not a Bears fan. I am in NFC North territory. There are very few Colts fans here. It's mostly Packers fans and Bears fans. If you go just a few minutes north of the border where I am, everyone's a Lions fan and I'm a Lions fan. I love Detroit. I love the city of Detroit. If I didn't build my entire life here, I would absolutely move to that part of Michigan. What inspired me to become a content creator and streamer? Absolutely nothing. No, I wasn't a person that decided one day I'm gonna be a content creator. It just honestly happened organically. I am about to be 33 years old, so I was in high school during the rise of creators on YouTube. I watched a lot of vloggers. Some of my favorites were Shay Carl, Charles Trippy, Lisa Nova, Danny Diamond, Philip DeFranco, Mystery Guitar Man. There were so many people at that time that I idolized and looked up to. My name, Wheezy, is named after one of my original favorite YouTube creators, WheezyWaiter. I stole it. Everybody thinks that I named myself Wheezy after Lil Wayne. No, WheezyWaiter from Chicago, Illinois. Wheezy means I have asthma. I'm bad at breathing, so I am wheezy. I didn't set out to be a WWE content creator. It wasn't like that at the time. I'd always wanted to be a YouTuber. And so I think the ultimate goal was, man, I just want to be an overall personality. I fought being a wrestling creator. I fought the wrestling niche because wrestling was just my thing. I didn't want to make content about it. I didn't want to argue with people on podcasts about who the better champion was or my Mount Rushmore. I didn't want to do that. And I did it anyway. No, what ended up happening when I started live streaming, I really blew up, I believe, especially on YouTube, when Tom Grossi rated me during halftime on YouTube. Basically is what kicked everything off. Tom is a wrestling fan as well as a Green Bay Packers fan. His audience told him to rate me and the rest is history. I'm also friends with some other great prominent streamers that you might know, one of them being Santi Zap and one of them being Conman167. In the way I've also befriended people like Minnie Portable, Queen of the Ring, people that are prominent in the wrestling space, and I'm really fortunate that I got into it at the time that I did. What kicked off everything, you say? Well, in 2023, CM Punk returned to the WWE.
Are you serious? Oh, they did it. They did it.
Triple H, dog. And when that happened, my reaction video and everybody else's went a little bit viral. WWE did this thing for the first time where they decided to feature content creators' reactions in a video recapping the return.
You guys! What the fuck? Oh my god! What? Yikes, they know we exist. Oh, we're all definitely marking the fuck out right now. Oh my god!
I was watching Monday Night Raw live, as I always was, when my face popped up on the screen. That was crazy. CM Punk himself ended up reposting that on his story, and then subsequently, for the next 2 years, the WWE has used my footage without my permission. I'm kidding. I love jokes. It's the coolest thing. I've had the coolest opportunities. There is a lot of luck to this, but luck is combined with just a lot of other things that you do. So other common things, when I started streaming, I did both AEW and WWE, but the workload and not having any free time made it so that I just started focusing on WWE, and AEW's copyright at the time was really difficult as well. I love professional wrestling in general. I only make regular content about WWE because it fits into my schedule the best. It just was easier for me and fit my personality style to focus on the one promotion, the biggest promotion. But with that being said, I like all professional wrestling. I like technical shit. I like goofy shit. I like pageantry. Okay, the one thing, I'm not a huge fan of death matches, but I will watch them. I saw a Nick Gage match live in Indianapolis and I wanted to die. I do try to help the wrestling community as much as I can. That is the one thing about being a creator that I'm really adamant about. I don't want to milk the business and use them as like a cash cow. I'm really conscious of that. I do try to support independent wrestling as much as I can. I can't make it to a lot of shows, but I do like to showcase some when I can, and I do love to buy a lot of independent merch. Now that I have more time with this being my full-time gig, I do plan to make it 2 more shows. So if you head to my website, WheezyBlonde.com, there's actually a little form where you can send something to my email if you want to recommend like a show that you're doing or hosting, especially independent shows. I don't need free tickets to go. I will gladly pay the price. I want to pay for a ticket to an independent show. Let's make that very clear. So if you're in, especially like the Chicago area, Michigan, all the way down to Indianapolis, some of Ohio, maybe Wisconsin, I'm in the Midwest, I would love to check out your show if you have one, if I can fit it into my schedule. A lot of common questions I get asked are like, what's your Mount Rushmore? Who's your favorite wrestler? What's your favorite finishing move? What would your entrance song be? The thing about me is that I have a difficult time answering those questions. I have severe ADHD. I've only recently been diagnosed and tried to treat it, and so I've never been really one to share my thoughts and opinions and be really confident in that. And the answers change all the time because professional wrestling is just entirely too broad. So if you ask me who's my favorite wrestler, I could give you a laundry list. I could give you so many. Like back in the day, my favorites were Stone Cold Steve Austin, Lita, Edge. I had an affinity for the Hollies, that Billy Gunn. Like those were my favorites when I was a kid. I started watching in around the 98, 97 area. I started watching with my dad, who was a professional wrestling fan his whole life. He has since kind of lapsed, but the Attitude Era, everybody was watching. I was a big fan of the Hardy Boys, Team Extreme. I was always more of a Matt Hardy girl than I was a Jeff Hardy girl. I stopped watching WWE in 2007 and I started watching regularly again in 2016. If you can't tell in listening to me talk, I tend to be all over the place. I've had undiagnosed ADHD. It was impossible for me to focus on school, work, friends, everything that I needed to do on top of watching wrestling television shows. Like wrestling is a commitment. 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours every week. It was too much. I couldn't fit it in. The reason I ended up getting back into it really was a YouTuber I was watching at the time, Charles Trippy. He had somebody on his vlogs named Josh. His name was Nerd Rock. And I remember Nerd Rock talking about wrestling, and he was a big fan of the Shield. So curious minds looked up the Shield, and by that time, you know, I got introduced to the lore. Didn't start watching fully, but I got back in 2016. So Charles Trippy vlogs, CTFXC. That's how I got back into wrestling. My husband started working nights. Oh yeah, I'm married, by the way. Hi. My husband started working nights at that time, and so he would leave for work literally between 7 and 8. So I had time to watch wrestling again. My husband is not a wrestling fan. He is a tag-along fan of anything that I'm a fan of. I was really meant to be a boy, I think. I grew up with all boys. I was raised by pretty much just my dad. I think a little bit differently than a lot of girls in my area. I act differently. I have different interests, and I've always felt like a big outcast because of that. The crazy thing is that even now I feel like an outcast in the professional wrestling space because I don't want to ask the same question. I view everything about professional wrestling differently than I think a lot of others do. I don't have a finishing move. I don't know what my finishing move would be. Along with having ADHD, an important thing to know about me is that my memory retention is not very good. It never has been. I don't remember things very well. So I get stressed out when people give me a hard time for not remembering specific events or remembering the names of specific people or moves. That got worse the older that I got, the more things that I needed to focus on and do. So yeah, my memory tends to dump like at the end of every night. Like I won't even remember sometimes what happened the night before. Like it's really hard for me to even do PLE reviews because I have a hard time remembering things. I have to write a lot of things down. In order for me to record a lot of the videos that I do, I actually have a huge whiteboard behind the camera that has things written down so that I can kind of like glance over and and work on it. I think it's really important to have not only women in the space, but just people with sound minds in general. And that is really why I'm here. I love making videos. I am a creative. I like to create things. I like talking to other people. This community has been so cool to talk about the thing that I never get to talk to anyone else about. I would love to venture outside of just wrestling. I would love to venture outside of just being a streamer or just making videos. But if you look back at some of my videos, there's a lot of vlogs on events that I've been to, things that I've done, brands that I've worked with. You can kind of take a look at some of those to get an idea for how I've been able to go to a lot of the things that I go to. I think my main goal is just to offer a different perspective, offer something different. I don't want to just copy and paste the same rubric of what other people are already doing. I think that there is a lot of room to prove that wrestling doesn't have to just be this cut and paste analysis, right? And I want to be the strong woman that has a voice and shows that she loves wrestling and isn't afraid to talk about wrestling with other people or men or people with differing opinions, because I think we need to do that. But I also think sometimes we don't need to take things as seriously as we do. But that's the age of the world we live in. This might have been a long-winded introduction, but I hope maybe this helps a little bit. All of the places you can find me are linked below. Like I said, this is my full-time venture now. I've cultivated a really amazing community and I would love for it to grow. And I can't do that without you. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. We're a community here. I'm open to feedback. Thanks for watching this whole thing. I appreciate all of you. If this doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But so far, we've done a pretty good job. And at the end of the day, I like doing it. Like I always say, have a good night. I'll see you in the next one.